Good morning, everybody. Thank you for spending a little bit of time with us on this May morning. I see a little bit of blue sky outside my window. I think that summer is just around the corner. And with that comes time to collaborate and spend a little bit of time together, looking at the past, looking at the future. And we're very glad to have friends from our National Bank On group with us today. And we'll dive into that here in a minute. But before that, a little bit of housekeeping. For folks who I haven't met yet or are watching in the future, hi, my name is Ryan Davis. I'm the Director of Community Impact with the Financial Empowerment Network. My job is to host meeting spaces like this and to make friends among people who are economic justice advocates and care deeply about banking access in our communities. We are the lead organization of Bank on Washington. I want to invite everybody to take this opportunity to introduce yourself in the chat. Double check that you're muted. Anything that you verbally say will be captured for the folks at home in the future. We have engaged closed captionings, but if there are other accessibility issues that we can solve, please let us know. And we will hopefully be having a very uh, fluid conversation today. So we have a number of opportunities planned for discussion, but please don't let that slow you down. Utilize the chat feature often with thoughts, questions, concerns, reactions. All are amazing ways to get connected. If you are new to Fen or haven't had a chance to review, I want to remind folks that we're here for low and moderate income individuals and families, and our goal is to help them achieve their financial well-being through partnerships. We are capacity builders, friend makers, and we want our partners to be in a position where they can offer access to affordable, effective, and relevant services, products, and other resources. I mentioned that we're connectors. We are a network of providers. Please check out our website for all of the communities that we support, all of the spaces where we are intentionally building collaborative problem solvers. And we're connecting financial conversation experts to one another. While I have everybody here and thinking about Bank On, if you haven't seen our announcements, please save the date, September 18th and 19th. We will be at the University of Washington Tacoma campus in the William H. Phillip Hall. I believe I have that correctly. We are doing things, we're trying a new thing this year. Please scan the QR code or go to bit.ly/BOWA 2025/apply if you are interested in speaking at the Bank on Washington Forum. We have a couple of sessions that we are intentionally looking for community voice, not only on ideas that we've talked about in the past, but new ideas, new creative solutions, or unique challenges that we can collaborate together and improve our communities. Applications are due this Friday. Don't fret, they're not long applications. The biggest piece is your objective and who your intended audience is. Please take a look at that and please consider putting in a proposal. If you have any questions, please reach out to me. We're trying to be open and transparent here as we embark on this new process. The other piece of Fen news that I really want to pass along is our May workshop. We offer monthly-ish workshops on financial topics throughout the year. This May workshop is very exciting on serving clients in times of crisis, both the crises that our clients bring to us, but also it's hard out here, y'all. How do we do good work when we have crisis ourselves? Scan the QR code or go to fenwa.org/events. I assume that one of my colleagues has dropped the link to that in the chat. If not, I will. Thanks, everybody. Wonderful. With that, my monologue is over. I do want to hold a little bit of space. If there are other fun community events going on, anything happening in your community, please drop them in the chat. If you have something super exciting that is that needs context, we have a couple of minutes here, but I want to highlight that this is a collaborative open space, and we want to highlight cool things going on in everyone's space. So drop things in the chat, raise your hand if you want to come off mute, um, and I love seeing links in the chat. Wonderful. Hearing none, we will save a little bit of time at the end for other cool things going on and ways that we can support each other. Oh, Anderson, please go for it. Thank you for raising your hand. We can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you now. Thank you.
The question is I was looking for context as into the, what is it called? Let me make sure I say it the correct way here. The equitable access to credit program, B&O tax credit.
Ooh. Is
I
this
want information.
a request for resources?
Yeah, and to get it context as to how it works and what exactly it is, because I know it ends in 2027, and I'm trying to figure out what's up with that credit and if we can continue it in slightly different form.
That is a really big question that I am very excited to bring in other experts on. I'm
Okay.
going to drop my scheduling link in the chat. Please grab a spot on my calendar,
Okay.
and let's collaborate and see if we can't find someone who is better positioned to answer that question.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Absolutely. I love the power of coalition building. With that, I have the pleasure of introducing Aaron Hirsch, who is one of the superstars of the Cities for Financial Empowerment Fund. I hope I'm saying that whole title correctly. Aaron has been helping all of the coalitions across the country, but us in particular, in thinking about integrations and how can we improve banking access in programs where people are already receiving a little bit of cash and making that part of their banking journey. Aaron, the floor is yours. Talk us through what is an integration and how does it help people achieve banking access?
Awesome. Thanks so much, Ryan. Thank you all so much for making space for me to join you all today and chat a little bit. So again, like Ryan said, my name is Aaron Hirsch. I'm with the Cities for Financial Empowerment Fund. And for anyone who's not familiar with our organization, we are the nonprofit that oversees the National Bank On program. And we support bank on coalitions around the country, like Bank on Washington, in doing the great work that y'all do. And I am joining you all today to talk a little bit about this specific part of Bank On around how we get people who are un- and underbanked connected to Bank On certified accounts. So before we dive in, I actually want to do a little bit of imagining here. So for folks who have a bank account, I'd like for you to take a moment and think about how you use that account. And this might actually be kind of difficult because, especially if you have had a bank account for a long time, you probably don't think about it very often. You might think about the amount of money that's in that account, but the account itself is actually pretty easy to take for granted. For those of us who are banked, this is just kind of the financial air that we breathe. But of course, there are millions of Americans still out there who do not have a bank account, right? And I want us to imagine for a moment what financial life might be like for someone who is unbanked. So you imagine it is payday, you've been working, you get a paycheck, and you don't have a bank account, so you take that paycheck over to a check casher. You stand in line, you get to the front, they take a few percentage points off the top, and then give you your money in cash. And now you have a bunch of cash, and you're walking around. Maybe your neighborhood isn't the safest, and you're carrying cash in your pocket. And then you need to pay your electric bill, let's say. But the electric company doesn't accept cash. So you need to go back to a place that allows you to put cash on a prepaid card. And that takes another couple of bucks off the top. So in order to perform this pretty basic financial transaction, you have to spend extra money and extra time. And you got to do this week after week, paycheck after paycheck. And over time, it's going to add up. And it means that you have less money and less time to do the things that you want to do, support your family in the way you want to support them, and live the life you want to live. Now, as a bank on coalition, you all have a solution in mind to this problem. We want to promote people getting banked into bank on certified accounts. But of course, it's not that easy, right? People are busy. Banks might be scary. They might be unfamiliar. There may be a trust gap. There are a lot of reasons not to get banked. And so to help people get banked, we got to think about meeting people where they are and connecting banking access opportunities to the systems, the programs, the touch points that people are already interacting with. We call these connections to the things people are already doing banking access integrations. And that's what I hope today's discussion can be all about. But before we get there, I want to give you all a couple of examples that I hope will paint more of a three-dimensional picture of what banking access integrations can look like in practice. So for example, City of San Jose, California, they've got a summer youth employment program. And this is a program where young people go and through the city, they get their first jobs. And oftentimes it's the first paycheck they ever got in their life. So it used to be that those young people were paid every couple of weeks on a prepaid debit card product, which had some fines or some fees associated with it. But working with local financial institutions and with the support from our team at the CFE through our Summer Jobs Connect program, they were able to shift over to a setup where everyone in the program is able to get financial education around the benefits of banking and then has the opportunity to open up a checking account that is designed with their needs in mind and get their paychecks that summer via direct deposit, which makes life easier for the program, right? They don't have to cut paper checks. And it sets these young people up for long-term financial success. People don't change their bank account very often. And so helping these young folks get banked now sets them up for success down the line. Another example, I want to take us now to Milwaukee, Wisconsin, where when people are released from incarceration at the Milwaukee County Jail, they are entitled actually to a little bit of money. Both anything they had in their prison commissary account and potentially like a little bit of a stipend that is set aside for folks who are being released. Now, historically, this has been dispersed to folks on a paper check, which means that in those critical hours and days after you've come out of incarceration, you have to take that check over to a check casher, which is going to take money off the top. So it's not really setting people up for financial well-being for the long term. But now there is a pilot program going on where a local bank is coming into the jail prior to folks being released. They're providing financial education, and they're using the computers that are in the jail to help people open up a bank on certified account. Then the debit cards for people's new accounts are being handed to people as they walk out the door, and they can call and activate those debit cards. So now you're banked. And there are still a lot of challenges facing you as a recently re-entering individual, but having a bank account is now not one of them. One more quick story here before I start wrapping up. So Monterey, Salinas, California. I want to talk about the bus in Monterey, Salinas. So in Monterey, the transit system is switching over to tap to pay. And what that means is that they are going from a situation where you got to buy like a fare card in cash, like a paper ticket, to one where you just like tap your credit or debit card exactly the same way as if you were like buying a candy bar at a store. Now, that's really convenient for riders. Like it makes it easier for you. It saves money for the transit system. They don't have to pay to process cash anymore. It's like a good idea, a 21st century idea. All transit systems in the country are going to do this eventually. But it's got the potential to leave behind individuals who are unbanked and don't have a digital payment method. So what Monterey Salinas is doing is they are using this moment of transition to encourage people to get bank on accounts. And they're messaging both the benefit to you as a rider, right? Like, oh, riding the bus is easier, and the benefit to you as a financial being and the long-term benefits of getting banked to you and your family. So that's 3 examples. There are lots more. But the common thread here, as I'm sure folks are picking up on, is that partnerships between government systems, community organizations, financial institutions, and other actors in communities around the country are helping people to get banked in bank-on certified accounts. They are meeting people where they are and creating banking access opportunities. So here's the question then that I'm hoping that we can talk about as a group today. Where are the right places in you all's community or communities to develop these types of partnerships? There are all kinds of places you could develop a banking access integration. You could build these connections. Where is the right place to focus for Bank on Washington? And it's worth noting that oftentimes the best places to focus are places where folks are either getting a payment of some kind or where there's some kind of comprehensive wraparound service. Now, that's not always true, as with the transit example, but it's usually a pretty good rule of thumb and a place to start. So with that, I want to leave us with just a couple of questions to consider and things to guide our conversation. Let me share my screen real quick. Can folks see this? Cool, I'm seeing nods.
Yes, you're good.
So a couple of things for us to think about as we move into this conversation. First, who are the folks in this community who are most likely to be unbanked?
You were good. The screen went black.
Oh, interesting. How about now?
We see your slides. We can see the questions. It is functional.
Okay. Whatever. I'll just say them. They're not that complicated. Who are the people in your community who are most, you know what I can even do? I'll put them in the chat. There we go.
We love the chat. There's also a question for you in the chat when after you pose questions to us. We've already posed questions to you.
Bank 59 is the bank in Wisconsin, and I'm happy to share some more information about them in a little bit. Here are questions to consider. Who are the people who are most likely to be unbanked? What are the systems, programs, services that those folks are already connected to? What are people already doing where we could meet them? Is there an opportunity in any of those systems or programs or services to include an account opening moment or moments? And then what would we have to do to develop those partnerships? And what would the mechanics of those partnerships look like? Would it mean a financial institution coming to an orientation? Would it mean a caseworker being trained about communicating the benefits of banking? Would it mean a bus system creating a website that promotes banking access? What would it look like? So that's my spiel. And that's sort of where I wanted to begin the conversation. At the end of this, and Ryan, if you don't mind reminding me, I'll drop some additional resources about banking access integrations in the chat. Yeah, I'll hand it back to you, Ryan.
Absolutely. First and foremost, thank you, Aaron. I will remove the spotlight so that everyone can see everyone. Thank you very much for sharing a little bit, piquing our interest in the idea of integrations. Before we go on, any other questions for Aaron? Please drop them in the chat. Raise your hand. Feel free to poke him with big thoughts. Milady, go for it.
Well, I was, thank you, Ryan. I was really intrigued by that. I'm the person who asked the question in the chat about the bank providing that amazing service to just as impacted folks in Milwaukee. Bank 529, they will be in my radar. Do you happen to know of any people that have been inspired or institutions that have been inspired by that initiative and have followed suit? Do you know if they're part of the state treasurer there? Will they be participating in any conferences where I may be able to talk to some folks? Thank you.
All great questions. Bank Bank 59 and the Milwaukee Department of Corrections, or the Milwaukee County Jail rather, uh, they're just one example of probably 10 or 12 jurisdictions around the country that are working on figuring out how to solve this problem of folks coming out of incarceration and being unbanked. I would say this idea is in research and development phase right now. Different jurisdictions are experimenting with different approaches. Some, like Milwaukee, are having folks go into the facility to help folks get banked. Others are partnering with parole. Um, Others are partnering with community-based organizations that folks engage with on a voluntary basis. Uh, I think there are a lot of different ways to support people
Hmm.
in getting banked, and we're still trying to figure out what the best way is. Um, the partnerships, there are partnerships with county jails, there are partnerships with state facilities, there are partnerships with, not nonprofit actors. Um, and right now, it's just sort of a loose coalition of folks around the country who are doing this. That said, you asked about conferences. So, we're having the Bank on National Conference in DC in 2 weeks. And this will be a topic of conversation there. Now, that's in 2 weeks. Y'all are on the West Coast. I don't expect folks to drop everything and fly across the country. But the other thing I will say is that, if you or organizations or government systems y'all know about are interested in doing a deeper dive on this, maybe this is where a conversation is going to go. I'm happy to sort of facilitate that conversation and bring what I know. There's a lot of technical components to sort out. But yeah, I'm happy to help with that.
Love this. This is also Aaron might have been looking at the agenda. This is where we're going. Where can Bank on Washington play in this space? I see that we have three people raise their hands. Let's go with these three, and then let's open up this can of worms. Jennifer, I think, had her hand up. Go first.
Aaron, you may have said this and I'm still processing everything you shared, but this is just in Milwaukee, or is this a statewide Wisconsin initiative? Because I think one of the challenges for us, and I'll just speak for me, is Washington is big and every region is very different and looks very different. And so thinking about like solutions that are statewide has felt challenging. So I'm curious about that aspect.
Yeah, it's a great question. Right now it is just in Milwaukee, and actually it's just in one program in one piece of one correctional facility. Ultimately, I would like it to be a statewide part of policy, right? I believe that this should be standard operating procedure for all correctional facilities around the country who are trying to take care of people and theory, like want to set people up so they don't come back. There's a bit of a sort of strategic question here about like, is it the right approach to start at the top or start at the bottom with these big state systems? In this case, we're starting at the bottom. And my hope is that we can generate proof of concept and then say the next correctional facility and the next, and then maybe we can get in front of the state board of whatever. And ultimately, like getting people banked is how it is. So I think there's often value in starting small.
Wonderful. We will put a pin in that, loop back to it here shortly. Milady, I see that your hand is up. Go for it.
Follow-up question. Okay,
Okay.
so again, fascinated by Bank 559 and everything they're doing. Do you happen to know, Aaron, how they're getting past the whole check system barrier to provide the service to banks? Because I've heard of different individuals, branch managers that are very passionate about inclusion, but they can't do more than what they can do, basically.
Yeah.
And they've expressed frustration in the fact that their hands are kind of tied because of the systems that are in place that are kind of prohibiting or limiting or slowing down access for individuals that have been delinquent in their accounts and so on and so forth. So do you happen to have some information on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a couple pieces to this. I mean, one is not everyone's going to get flagged in checks. In fact, the majority of folks who are incarcerated won't have anything negative on their check systems. For those who do, financial institutions actually have a lot of discretion in how they handle those cases. And so, I won't speak specifically to sort of Bank 5's internal decision making, but I do know that like many financial institutions can and have just made decisions to uh accept, account opening for folks who do have a mark in checks. Now it requires sometimes financial institutions or sort of like champions at financial institutions go into bat with their risk and compliance department. It requires some creative thinking, but it's certainly possible. Yeah, and I think one of the roles that a bank on coalition can do is start to do this matchmaking process and say, okay, we have like this group. They're going to face these specific challenges to getting banked. Who are the bank on, or financial institution or financial institutions who are willing to provide the flexibility that's going to help these people to get accounts?
Aaron, I said that we would pester you. Mandy, go for it, and then we will frame some of the backside of this conversation.
I have to hop off in a few minutes, but I just wanted to echo what Aaron was saying and expand upon it a little bit. If you're looking for partnerships with financial institutions, I think the best way to go about it is to find out more about their mission, especially if they're a mission-driven organization. And then reach out and talk to them. Like with Verity Credit Union, we're a CDFI. We are passionate about, well, because I'm leading the work, we're passionate about generational wealth building and, equitable access to housing options and building up small businesses, and particularly working with groups of people that have been historically underserved and underrepresented. And that's really, really broad, right? Like that's super broad. That basically covers everyone in Washington state that is living at 120 AMI and below, right? But every financial institution is looking for partnerships to do the work better and to have a greater impact. So if you're looking for a financial institution to be a partner, really dig into it and see if you have mission alignment with a financial institution, and then bring that to the table, especially with CDFIs, because we have access to more funding opportunities than a bank. And credit unions and CDFIs have more flexibility to make those adjustments that Aaron was talking about, of how we create our accounts and what products and services we can create in partnership and co-create in partnership with the community that some of the bigger banks don't have, if that makes sense. And, just going back to Verity and my experience, like we're small. We're a very small credit union. There's only 3 people on my team doing community impact work, and one of which y'all know, she's our financial coach. But what that means is there's just me driving a lot of the partnerships and bringing those partnerships and the ideas back to the table to the other departments. And I don't know what I don't know. So if you're interested in doing something big and powerful, just talk to a credit union, just talk to a bank and see what's possible. And I'm fairly confident that I'm speaking for a lot of the folks on this call right now. And if you haven't had a chance to meet Wayne, I met Wayne, who was on this call at the last Bank On Forum, and he's phenomenal. I can recommend Northwest Plus as another opportunity to partner. And Minda Michelle, I saw, was also on this call, and what she's doing over there at that credit union is also phenomenal. So yeah, reach out to us, because we're just looking for ideas and people to work with. That's it. Just wanted to put in my 2 cents about partnership.
Oh, Mandy. On that thought, can we get credit unions to sound off with a reaction or in the chat? Thank you all for being here. Banks also sound off in the chat and with the reactions. Financial institutions in here in the room with partnerships. Yes.
Oh, and there's
Uh,
Elizabeth. I missed Elizabeth, but she's also Express, one of the few organizations that is I-10 certified. So yeah, Express is also fantastic.
All much love. All much love. Thank you, everybody. I promised Aaron that we would pester him with at least 3 questions. We have done this. Uh, for the second half of this conversation, we are going to turn the focus onto Bank on Washington, here in Washington. Um, the co-chairs, can I have Becky House and Minda Michelle Maddox come on camera if you can, and Jarrell Jones, who is not able to be here today. We have been sort of noodling on areas of Washington, areas of banking access in Washington where there might be fertile ground, and have come up with 6 options with the help of Aaron and his team on 6 potential focus areas for Bank on Washington to try and build a project that Aaron can talk about in other presentations for a statewide integrations project. Um, I'm going to ask Becky and Minda here in a minute to pick one of these 6 and champion and give a little bit of context. I'll fill in some of the gaps and I can poke Aaron a few more times as well. And then we hope to have a conversation that will lead us towards some level of prioritizing these 6 on what is fertile ground for like a 6-month, let's make some progress, and what might be an area that we're excited about to work on over the next 12 to 18 months. This is not a comprehensive list of everyone who has trouble with banking access. We did try to aim at communities that are already, like Aaron said, receiving some form of cash or have some central interface that we can advocate with to make some systems change. So without further ado, Becky, could I ask you to introduce yourself quickly and champion one of the potential focus areas?
Sure. Thanks, Ryan. And I feel like this is kind of after the fact because I think we're all like totally bought in already today. So we had this meeting, and again, I'm Becky House. I'm a chair for Washington's Bank On Coalition, but also most of you know I work for American Financial Solutions as well. Our list, we have, as Ryan mentioned, we had 6 kind of areas looking at people receiving unemployment, using public transportation, Department of Corrections, coaching, immigrants and refugees, and youth banking. And I just want to talk a little bit about, I know we've been talking about Department of Corrections this morning, so I'm going to not talk about that and talk about coaching programs, which I think we have a very robust group of financial coaches in Washington State. And I think it lends itself to a huge opportunity. Because we're working with people who, may be struggling living paycheck to paycheck, are using, check cashing or other ways of, navigating their finances, maybe have not the highest warm and fuzzies towards financial institutions. So it can be harder. And the other side of that, harder to connect them to financial institutions and banking. And there's two pieces why I think the coaching programs are so important, because one, as a financial coach, you might be working with someone on multiple pieces of their lives, right? So it might be, it's not just how to get into the financial system, banking system, but also, how do I, improve my earning potential, and how do I find housing, and all of those kinds of things. So there's the perspective of the coach, but there's also the perspective of the client, where they're like all of those things too. How do I, yes, I might like to be banked, but how am I going to find someone? Yes, I might, I might like to be banked, but it's more important that I find housing, or it's more important that I find this you know, a better career or something like that, a more earning potential. So again, I think there's a lot of opportunity, but again, there's lots of barriers. So that's why I thought I'd talk a little bit about that one.
Thanks, Becky. Minda Michelle, could I ask you to give a quick intro to yourself and pick one of the focus areas to champion on why banking access is hard in that particular area?
Yes, good morning, everyone. I'm Minda Michelle. I'm with Washington State Employees Credit Union. I'm on the community relations team. So my team goes out and across the state and talks to people about money. And my focus area that I'm most passionate about really is the immigrants, well, the last two, immigrants and refugees, and the youth banking. They are our youth. I have a young person, and our youth are not interested in traditional banking, and I'm dismayed by the fact that they use peer-to-peer platforms as their banks. It's quite dismaying. And so my personal passion is that last bullet. And so Ryan, you're talking about the challenges for youth. It's we banks and credit unions, we got to be, and you all know this already, we've got to be more savvy doing things online with the young people. And I work with young people who are also entrepreneurs. And things like BECU's video banking is huge. It's huge. My credit union we've been #1 in the state for customer service for a few years now. Then that, of course, is a point of pride. And if customer service is friendly but can't help a young person who is digitally savvy and we are not, then we're missing out. And I don't know about you all in the small bank and credit union realm, but we are targeting young people. We are looking to open accounts with folks who are 20 to 50 years old. And how are we going to do that if we're not digitally savvy? And so that is, so the you said barriers, Ryan.
Yeah.
The barrier is not having a good platform for these young people to do their banking on, and for the ones who are entrepreneurs and wanting to do business loans, business lines of credit, business, even just any kind of business account, the education to them and the reach that we have is really important. So I think, was it our sweet Mandy was talking about the reach that we have, the capacity that we have to go out and actually talk to whoever the audience is, about what we can offer and what they want us to offer, so that we can bring it back to our institution. So for our organization.
Love it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think I know what Aaron is about to say, but I also want to jump in there. Young people go to school. Getting into school districts is a hard piece of it, but there are a number of places in the financial lives of young people that are ordered, segmented, easy to find. Easy to find. Aaron, now you're allowed to have your thought.
Thanks, Ryan. Yeah, I mean, I think Minnie Michelle's building off of your point. I wanted to make sure everyone was aware that one of the programs that we've built in this banking access space is called Summer Jobs Connect. And this is a program where I think I described this with San Jose a little bit ago, but we help youth workforce programs set their young people up for banking access. So the program is specifically tailored towards workforce programs that have a municipal connection. So let me actually just drop the link in the chat real quick here. And programs can work with us, go through what we call Summer Jobs Connect Academy, where they get sort of step-by-step technical assistance in how to build in banking access and how to work with a financial institution to create an account that's going to be good for young people, and then join our learning community of almost 50 at this point programs around the country that are doing banking access work for youth employment programs. So my plug is, if anybody knows anyone, or if there's anyone on the call who works with or for one of these youth workforce programs, put them in touch with me. The application for this for Summer Jobs Connect is probably going to go live this summer, or in July, would be my guess. But I'm happy to have sort of preliminary conversations with folks and help them sort of see what the value is.
Hey, Aaron, have you dropped your email in the chat yet?
I will do that right now.
Wonderful. Love new programs. So the couple that I will briefly at a sprint go over of why the focus areas that ended up on this list that we haven't talked about yet. For folks who are receiving unemployment, if they do not have a bank account to set up direct deposit, that is usually meaning that they will receive a paper check or a prepaid debit card. Leave alone all of the challenges of getting cash off of either of those. That's also you need a safe place to receive mail to receive either of those, which is a challenge for a lot of people who are receiving or who are experiencing homelessness or domestic violence or any number of challenges. And it's also a burden on the administrative staff at the Employment Security Department. So if it were possible to open a bank account during the process of applying for unemployment insurance, that might be a fast, a win-win-win. And I will echo that Aaron did a great job of talking to our Department of Corrections. I will mention that our Governor Ferguson just signed a bill that would mandate that the Department of Corrections identify a nonprofit in each of their communities to refer everybody who has been released. So we have some legislative momentum in that direction, as well as it's a piece that we have spent some amount of energy on for the last 3 years as a coalition. I'll end by this section just by saying that each of these 6 areas are possible. We can envision an integration solution in any of these sessions or in any of these focus areas. Oh goodness, the chat is exploding. I will take a look at this here in a minute, but the piece that is going to be most helpful in the next 15 minutes here, and I apologize for everybody watching the recording. You're about to watch us make some decisions. Email me if you have thoughts about the decisions we're about to make. I'm going to open up a poll to sort of rank the priorities or the importance of each of our focus areas. I'm going to ask you to do it twice. I mentioned before, an area of fertile ground that we could get something done in the next 6 months. And I want us to remember that the next 6 months might be real busy. So this is sort of a low-hanging fruit question. And then secondly, what might make the biggest impact if we can work on it for the next 12 to 18 months? Implicit in this is Ryan is not doing this work. The last thing that we're going to do is empower a steering committee or a subcommittee, not a steering committee, a subcommittee to work with myself and Aaron and our co-chairs in figuring out the nuts and bolts. Before I open up this poll, any last minute questions? Thanks, Jennifer. And Becky, thank you for the chats to remind us what we're working on. Any questions about any of the 6 potential focus areas? Okie dokie. I am going to open up this poll. I don't anticipate it being a complicated poll, but if tech has outsmarted us today, let me know. It is a hard decision, and I'm not going to rush us. I am, however, going to find some music to put us in the right headspace. I'm going to say 90 more seconds. another minute. All right, 10 seconds if you haven't voted yet. Throw some spaghetti at the wall and hit submit. Just kidding. All righty, we'll call that good. Thank you, everybody. End poll, share results. This is not as intuitive as I was wanting this to be. However, interpreting these results is not necessarily what we have to do today. Just looking at this, the top choice for an easy, or not easy, but low-hanging fruit looks like youth banking and unemployment. No, youth banking seemed to get the top, with unemployment and coaching programs being second. Second choice, Department of Corrections and youth banking seem to come out on top. So that is good information for us to narrow in on potential topic areas. And then in the longer term question of what area do you see as the most important for a 12 to 18 month project, we saw that coaching programs got the most votes, with the second choice being youth banking. So I am definitely seeing the youth banking seems to we have a lot of momentum here. I see that there is enough content here that a subcommittee will have at least one full meeting determining what these results tell us. Wonderful. Any volunteers for this subcommittee? Otherwise, I'll start volunteering. Raise your hand, sound off in the chat. We'll add you to the list of FEN subgroups.
We're already on it, right?
Yeah, sorry, co-chairs.
That's okay. Just making sure.
I love this energy in the chat. We have Elizabeth, Raquel, and Aaron already in on the action. Do I get to see who voted for what? Probably not live, but I will be the application period. The opportunity to join the subcommittee does not end with this meeting ends. If you get excited about this thought about any time between now and the end of the year, shoot me an email and we'll plug you in as we learn more. I need to do a little bit of capturing all of these names. I so appreciate everybody here. Continue to drop your names in the chat if you would like to join this subcommittee on what next steps might look like. We have 9 minutes left. Aaron, I'm going to poke you one more time. When a coalition is working with the CFE fund, what might we expect as a subcommittee?
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing I will start pushing this group on, and will encourage us all to think about is, spending a little bit more time thinking about what our vision is, what's the idea we want to see put in practice, and then I'll encourage us to start getting really tactical and thinking about who do we know, who's connected to these systems, and what is our vision for what it looks like for folks who are reentering to get banked in Washington. What does it look like for refugee communities to have these opportunities? And what are the things we need to start doing to make that happen? So I think there's probably one more conversation about aligning on the vision, and then it is action steps and follow-ups, and figuring out the mechanics of how this stuff is going to work, the nitty-gritty work. I will say that so much of establishing these integrations is getting to the right folks. So I would really encourage people, as y'all were sitting in this conversation today, if any of these potential focus areas sparked ideas in your networks for people who should hear about these ideas, reach out to them. Even if you don't feel like you are prepared to make like an hour-long presentation about Bank On, somebody is. And so the more we can grow this network, the better off we're going to be. Yeah.
Wonderful. Thanks, Aaron. Becky, go for it.
I just wanted to say, I think what just piggybacking on what Aaron was saying and what you said earlier too, Aaron, it is really important. I think that we start really considering who we can talk to, who do we know, and at all levels. One of the things that Aaron said earlier was that, about starting kind of at the bottom and working our way up. And I think there's a lot of merit in that. That's a great way to establish a program, establish results that you can take as you move forward and show to the people at the top, like, hey, look at this. This is how this is working. Don't you want to be part of something that's really cool? So I think that's great. And but that, again, it lends itself to who do I know at, every level of an organization or government that's out there. So anyway, that's all I want to say.
Wonderful. Thanks, Becky. And thank you for agreeing to be voluntold to be part of the subcommittee. Raquel, please.
Hi, so I just had a quick question. I just wanted to confirm that, like, after this meeting, will the recording be sent out via email, or will we find it on the website?
It will definitely be sent out by email. Still deciding whether or not it belongs on the website. You are on my email list. If you received this calendar invite directly from me, you will get the recording directly from me. If you got it from somebody else, please reach out to them or make sure that I have your email by the end of today. Awesome.
I guess
Linda, that is a dangerous sentence to put in a Fen chat.
Ryan, can I ask one more question of the group?
Please.
I think we have a good sort of process and set of next steps set up here. But I will ask, sort of, as folks have been listening and participating in this conversation, like, does anybody have a vision that's starting to form for them of what a banking access partnership could look like connected to any of the programs or systems we just talked about? Like,
Like
does anybody
I said, the lived experience, okay, Washington State's re-entry board at Commerce just okayed and approved within the last 6 to 8 months 2 new seats that are going to be for people that are lived experiences and are currently incarcerated. And these are paid positions. So, I mean, they will be making an income while incarcerated with the lived experience for the re-entry board at Commerce. So there, I don't know. That seems like a really good point right there to go to utilize and to somebody to get on top of if they were unaware of it.
Yeah, it is on my radar now, most definitely. Thanks, Anderson.
I was thinking about workforce, right? They're already part of this FEN network. And if you're thinking about unemployment, one of the things I've experienced in collaborating with nonprofits is it can be difficult for them to want to just recommend this one institution, right? Because they want to make sure there's options and they're not favoring one. And so I think if we came in together as a coalition of financial institutions to WorkSource or, another agency supporting those unemployed, and we, they give them this list or, using the teller in a backpack model that we launched years and years ago, right? You could have these financial institutions rotate around these locations and offer like on-site account openings. So maybe the financial institutions kind of switch in and out of the centers. But that's, I think, opportunity, low-hanging fruit, because you guys, FEN is already so connected with those workforce development councils. and
and yeah.
WorkSource.
And I will point out that just because Bank on Washington is working on a different project, like if two organizations that are here today or watching this recording want to know more about Elizabeth's teller in a backpack or other ways for your local financial institutions to partner on your work, you don't have to go through me. Go through them, like Mandy said. Raquel, for our last comment, and then I'll wrap us up together.
Yeah, so sorry. I would like to mention that our organization, Centro Cultural Mexicano, does have a financial education course, and this is just very from the very basics of financial education, where we talk about, opening different bank accounts, saving, fraud, and different kind of um how do you say, investments. Um, we have noticed that there seems to be kind of a disconnect with the older Latino generation using computers, and now that everything is done kind of online, um, it's a bit difficult to bridge that gap just as we're starting that program. So I'm kind of wondering if anybody maybe has uh, seen a same situation, like, what kind of programs would you recommend? I mean, like, or what kind of uh, things could we offer them just so we can close that and continue to push them forward and support them?
Raquel, there's a request to share your email in the chat. And which organization are you with, Raquel?
I'm with Centro Cultural Mexicano. We are a nonprofit here in Redmond. I also would like to mention that all of these financial education courses, English courses, computer courses, we do have a basic computer class, um, is all in Spanish. We mainly cater to people who first language is in Spanish or just mainly speaks in Spanish. But we do offer translation services for different kinds of applications, like for the unemployment application, how do solicit no, that's like rent application, just kind of uh, solitude application kind of thing. Another word for it in Spanish. I completely forgot in English. I'm sorry.
Está bien, si puede escribir en el chat, está bien.
Okay, so
I also noticed that we are at the hour. Please, I'm not kicking you out. If you want to stay in chat, feel free to. I am, however, saying goodbye to everybody watching the recording. Bye, everybody.